Hello, I'm Stone Oak Valley and welcome to the next episode of Unpacking My Treasures. So if you haven't watched episode 1, you should check that out if you want. Since this is like a general intro I use for all the other episodes, I have no idea what box I'm at. So you have to check the title or whatever. So let's just go straight to the case and unpack the next box. Hello and welcome to episode 25, and this time we are leaving the smaller boxes behind and we have upgraded to a much larger box. And this one says diverse machine Atari ST, Memotech, C128 and A1200. So we begin with a box. Yeah, just a power cable. What is this? Yes. This is a very recent item I bought. This is a, like a hard drive emulator for the Atari ST1040 STFM, which is my model. So I 3D printed, it's based on the 3D print, I think. So you have a mini SD and then you connect this to the back of the Atari. And yeah, it is identifying, but I'm not really an Atari kind of guy, but I'm really interested in trying to install some software and things, and yeah, for the initial testing this worked just fine. And I guess this is just a power supply for that one. Yeah, I'm not really sure what this could be. Yeah, it's just a video converter for VGA to video, so you put the VGA in here and you get composite and Super VHS. I think it works maybe both ways or something. Yeah, just a device I had for many years. This is apparently my home-built Atari ST video cable, so I get composite and audio out of this very large pinout. And yeah, I guess this is just the original cover for the ST, the Atari. And I believe this was some kind of experiment with some chips, because I received my Atari ST without any cables or anything, so I was pretty lost. That's the first Atari I ever had. So I only saw Atari 1040 or 520 or something way back in 88 or something, like extremely briefly. So I bought an Atari ST. I think we're gonna talk about that. Yeah, and this is just a mouse I must have picked up somewhere. I have labeled it Atari mouse, so this is just plug and play for the Atari. And yeah, so these are I think this is actually the only original Atari discs I own. So this is ST format cover disc, ST format GFA draft plus 3 and some other things. So these are all cover discs for magazine, and also Leander and some stuff. So at least in the early days, when I got the Atari in 2007, I had at least something to try the floppy drive. But of course I'm really curious on the Atari ST as well, because it's very similar to Amiga 500, right? Yeah, and this is obviously a floppy drive emulator with a big SD card. I forgot the name for this, but it's one of those HX E floppy emulator or something. It's not a Gotek, but this obviously goes for the Atari, and I guess I have power here then, and then I have a special cable, so yeah, some custom made stuff. And I suppose this is just yeah, I would believe this is for the Atari also. So this gives me obviously sound, and also I guess this is for the high-res graphics mode on the Atari. Yeah, so at least because the Atari have two different modes. It has like a monochrome mode, so you need higher resolution screen, and then you have composite, so it's very similar to Commodore and all these things. Yeah, this is just a generic computer mat or something, nothing special. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, even though I own Amiga 500, like authentic ones, I'm curious on new electronics, and this is from Retro Games, the A500 Mini. And I would usually buy these when there's only one left in stock, so that means I buy it years after it was launched, because then I can get it at really cheap price. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you've seen all of this thousands of times on other videos out there, so I don't want to go too much into this. But yeah, I was just curious, and I want to keep it in my collection. It will be used for a project, but you know, if I really want to play Amiga, I would prefer the original one with all its glory. And indeed, we do have the Amiga 1200 in here. I was thinking that was in a different box, because it's supposed to be part of a, you know, secret project I'm working on. But anyway, this is my Amiga 1200. It is not my original one. I bought this for the purpose of my So AMC recording project that I started in, I guess that was 2009. And it came with Blizzard 1210, 1220. And then I think a year after I managed to find the Blizzard 1230. But I did some modifications to it. I obviously added a very stupid external compact flash thing, but you know, this was bought just to serve the purpose. Yeah, I also had to 3D print this because this was missing, and the floppy drive is intact and working, and the machine is all working, of course, but this was used in the recording. So I didn't mind having this hanging out, because it was just hanging on the wall in my recording project. So for now it's, yeah, I have used this, of course, throughout the years with the various random projects. So of course it's all authentic, and yeah, it's truly my go-to machine, really. And yes, here we have the actual Atari 1040 ST, and yeah, the RF signal goes there, so you may see some holes here. I did some stupid modifications back in 2007, so there was like a power here for that external Gotek similar device. But I recently removed all of that and restored some of the functions. There are still some holes left here. But this is obviously some power I just made, I think. just to support this thing more neatly inside like this. And then you will also plug this hard drive emulator into this, and of course I believe these were joysticks, so I have removed them from under here. And when I bought this just recently, you know, it crashed with my original one, so I have to move it over there. Well, it is kind of like a Frankenstein, but what I really don't like about the Atari is that they hide the mouse and the joysticks under here. It's really inconvenient. And yeah, sure, they have made like a groove here, but to me it's like, the hell are you thinking? So the Commodore was much better because that had it on the side, and of course the Amiga is superior having everything on the back side, so that's what I wanted to emulate here. Anyway, yeah, there's been some modification here. I had to 3D print the floppy, but I managed to also fix the floppy, because the reason why I got this is because the floppy original one was really bad and I couldn't find a replacement. So I tried to restore it back to normal so I can load disks like normal. But I also have the benefit of the hard disk, and I also have the benefit of the external floppy emulator. So yeah, and yeah, here's just the MIDI and the expansion, I suppose. But it's really working. The only thing I don't like about this is that it has a Swedish operating system. So yeah, I haven't dug into how to upgrade the ROMs, but I think it's going to be a headache from what I'm learning. And here we have my Commodore 128. So this is fully working, no repair needed. I believe I also have not modified anything. Actually, that's not true, because I had some kind of power modification, because again I didn't have the correct power plug for it, but eventually I reverted that or something. But I also managed to test the monitor RGB port here with my old IBM monochrome screen. I made a video about that. Yeah, but I got this in 2007 together with Atari, I believe. So that was like a big buy in 2007. Let me see where I can put this without destroying the entire collection. And yeah, so this is what happened. I restored back the power connector on the Commodore 128, removed my ATX power, because when I got the 128 I had no cables, no nothing. So this is a recently bought item, just a couple of months ago in 2025. Basically just converts the power so I can use a regular Commodore 64 power supply, I believe. So that's really nice to do. Yeah. So I did buy the Amiga 1200 had a bad membrane, so you know, insane in the membrane. So I had to change that a couple of years ago, but then it also failed and I bought a new one. And like I said here, it's working okay, but the plastic is a little bit tight, so I don't know, it seems like they didn't manage to make that membrane perfectly. So I had to buy two of them and I have to cut a little. But right now the Amiga 1200 is all fine, so I just saved this in case of emergency. And finally we have my heavily modified Memotech. Yeah, this was quite a project. The original keycap, I talk about that in a different episode. I also made a story about this on my website. I also added a power LED because the original doesn't have it. And yeah, I did struggle finding cables for this because it loads audio straight like digital, not like Commodore 64 I mean, but it loads like audio tapes. And there was no mentioning anywhere on internet or in a manual or anywhere else that you needed a jack with just one pin, so it's like mono. So that was the first issue, and nobody have ever written in any documentation anywhere that you need to plug this into the air. And this one goes to any tape player, so that could be just a digital device also, just something that plays audio. You can even hook this up to your cell phone. So there you go. For the first time in, I don't know, 40 years, you plug the plug into air, and it has to be mono. So now you can load. I also did modify the power on this internally. I removed all that AC DC bullshit. I did follow a tutorial on the internet, a convoluted one, but anyway I managed to figure out of it, so I just used the ATX power. Plug in a regular ATX power and it's perfect. And then there's a monitor, so that must be some BNC I think, so I just convert that to a composite. But the machine actually now works. The keyboard had to be removed because the keys were so bad and it's impossible to find any suitable replacement actually, so I made my own little tactile button thing. This was printed out and just overlaid, so at least, you know, I could write something and load games and all this. So this is a really oddball of a machine. My brother found it in some kind of clean out, just randomly, and I think it was like 2011 or 12 or something. And he said to me, I think I found a black Commodore 64, and I said, whoa, that must be something extremely unique, or somebody was going crazy with a paint can. And when I got the box, it was like, I said, this can't be a Commodore 64, so heavy. And I opened it up, it's like, what the X is this? I mean, apparently it's an English computer, and they were targeting to get this into schools, so it has a basic, and only launched a couple of games really. But it's one of these oddball things that just happens to find its way into my collection. This is not something I would ever buy, but you know, if it's free and it's mysterious, I just have to investigate. So yeah, it's a really weird machine, to be honest. So yeah, anyway, I think that is actually, there are some things. So yeah, that was the end of box where we are now, 25. Yeah, I lost count. Yeah, anyway, so that was a couple of my machines and some of the stories. And I guess I will just see you again in episode 26.